Good morning, students. Hope you are all fine. Today we are going to see Chapter 4 Heat in Grade 7 Science NCERT book. In our last class, we discussed about heat, temperature, and temperature scale. Today we will see thermometer. Students, did you see a thermometer? Yes. When you or your family member suffers from fever, at the time we use thermometer to measure our body temperature. What is thermometer? A device which is used to measure temperature is called thermometer. A device which is used to measure the temperature of an object is called thermometer. There are two types of thermometers. Thermo means heat, meter to measure. So, thermometer means measuring heat or temperature. Now we'll see types of thermometer. There are two types of thermometer. One is a clinical thermometer. Another one is a laboratory thermometer. These are two types of thermometers. Now we'll see clinical thermometer. Thermometer used to measure body temperature are called clinical thermometer. Thermometer which is used to measure body temperature are called clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer used to measure a human body temperature. Clinical thermometer used to measure a human body temperature. It consists of a long, narrow and thin glass tube with a glass bulb at one end. See this picture. It consists of a long, narrow and thin glass tube with a glass bulb at one end. That long glass tube called capillary tube. That long glass tube called capillary tube. A silver colored liquid called mercury present in that bulb. A silver colored liquid called mercury present in the bulb. Temperature scale is marked on the glass tube of the thermometer. See this picture. Temperature scale is marked on the glass tube of the thermometer. We already discussed about temperature scale. One is a Celsius scale, another one is a Fahrenheit scale. Clinical thermometer has a kink in the glass tube to prevent backflow of mercury. So, this kink prevents the backflow of mercury in a clinical thermometer. Mercury expands when heated and rises in the glass tube. See this picture, liquid that expands when heated. Liquid means what? Yes, here liquid means mercury. Mercury is the only metal in liquid state at room temperature. In thermometer, mercury is present inside the glass bulb. Mercury present inside the glass bulb. When mercury gets heat, it expands inside the thin, narrow tube. A clinical thermometer may have two scales marked on its glass tube. One is a Celsius scale, degree Celsius. Another one is a Fahrenheit scale, degree Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit scale has a range of 94 degree Fahrenheit to 108 degree Fahrenheit. Celsius scale on thermometer is from 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. Children, see this picture. It is a clinical thermometer. It has two scales marked on its glass tube. One is a Celsius scale, another one is a Fahrenheit scale. Fahrenheit scale has a range of 94 degree Fahrenheit to 108 degree Fahrenheit. Celsius scale has a range of 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. Students, why does a clinical thermometer have a narrow range? Narrow range means it has 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. Why does a clinical thermometer have a narrow range? This is because normal temperature of human body is about 37 degrees Celsius and normally it does not go below 35 degree Celsius or above 42 degree Celsius. So it has narrow range. So it has 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. The king prevents the backflow of mercury into the thermometer bulb. When the thermometer bulb is removed from the mouth of the patient, the king prevents the mercury level in the thermometer tube from falling on its own. So, even when the thermometer bulb is removed from the mouth of patient, the mercury thread will be standing at the maximum level reached. Due to this, we can read the correct body temperature of patient even after removing the thermometer bulb from his mouth or a patient mouth. After noting the body temperature, the level of mercury can be brought down by shaking the thermometer tube. Clinical thermometer has a narrow range, so should not be used to measure the temperature of hot water. Why means it have a narrow range and it breaks easily with a higher temperature. When we are placed in a hot water, it will be break. Why it is means it's have a narrow range. So, clinical thermometer should not used to measure the temperature of hot water. Precautions while using a clinical thermometer. First one, wash the thermometer before and after use. Ensure the mercury level is below 35 degrees Celsius before use. Don't hold the thermometer by the bulb while reading it. Mercury is toxic in nature. Mercury is toxic in nature. If a thermometer breaks, it is difficult to dispose the mercury. So nowadays mercury thermometers are being replaced by digital thermometer that do not use mercury. So in a digital thermometer there is no mercury. We also have advanced infrared thermometer as clinical thermometer. They can measure temperature from a distance. It mostly used for babies. Next one, laboratory thermometer. A laboratory thermometer is used to measure the temperature of any hot object. It's used to measure the any hot object. It consists of a long, narrow and thin glass tube with glass bulb. It has long, narrow and thin glass tube with glass bulb that has mercury in it. The glass bulb has mercury in it. There is no kink in the mercury column. So in a clinical thermometer has kink in it, but in laboratory thermometers no kink. It can measure temperature from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degree Celsius and is accurate to 1 degree Celsius. Clinical thermometer is accurate to 0.2 degree Celsius. This laboratory thermometer is accurate to 1 degree Celsius. Clinical thermometer is accurate to 0.2 degree Celsius. The range of a laboratory thermometer is generally from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. This means that a common laboratory thermometer can measure a lowest temperature of minus 10 degrees Celsius and highest temperature of 110 degrees Celsius. If we look at the temperature marking of says 0 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees Celsius on the thermometer tube, we will find that there are 10 small division in between them. 10 small divisions on this laboratory thermometer tube represent a temperature of 10 degrees Celsius. Therefore, one small division on the laboratory thermometer will represent a temperature of 1 degree Celsius. Let's see an activity. Take a laboratory thermometer. Hold the thermometer from its glass tube and immerse the bulb of thermometer in hot water taken in a beaker. See this picture. Likewise, we are going to take a water in a beaker. The bulb of thermometer should not touch the sides or the bottom of the beaker. So, the thermometer should not touch the sides or the bottom of the beaker. We will see the shining thread of mercury moving up in the thermometer tube. After some time, the mercury thread will stop rising and stand at one place. So, wait till the mercury thread become steady. Then, read the temperature of thermometer tube which correspond to the top of mercury thread. This will give us the temperature of hot water. It will give us the temperature of hot water. See in this picture, the thermometer shows that the temperature of hot water taken in the beaker is 70 degree Celsius. Precautions while using a laboratory thermometer. It should be held vertically and should not touch the sides or bottom of the container. It should be held vertically and should not touch the sides or the bottom of the container. Should be surrounded from all sides by the substance. Should be surrounded from all sides by the substance. Reading should be taken while its bulb is still in touch with the substance. Reading should be taken while its bulb is still in touch with the substance. Do not hold the thermometer by the bulb. Do not hold the thermometer by the bulb. Kink is present in clinical thermometer. Kink not present in laboratory thermometer. The kink is a narrow and sharp bend. Kink is a narrow and sharp bend or curve bend in the bore of clinical thermometer tube. It prevents the backflow of mercury. Next we'll see transfer of heat. We already discussed this one. Heat flows from a hot object to a cold object. In other words, heat flows from an object at higher temperature to another object at lower temperature. And heat can be transferred from a hot object to a cold object in a three different ways. One is a conduction, second one convection, and third one radiation. What is this? Conduction, convection, and radiation. These are the three ways heat transfer from one object to another. That means hotter object to cooler object. In solids, heat is transferred by conduction. In liquids and gases, heat is transferred by convection. And in empty space or vacuum space or in a vacuum, empty space or vacuum, heat is transferred by radiation. First, conduction. Transfer of heat from the hotter part to the colder part of a material by direct contact is called conduction of heat. Transfer of heat from the hotter part to the colder part of a material by direct contact is called conduction of heat. It occurs without the movement of material as a whole. For example, heating of a steel spoon on the flame. See this picture. If you heat one end of a metal spoon by keeping it over a gas burner, we find that its other end also become hot. In this case, heat is transferred from the hot end of the metal spoon to its cold end. In this case, transfer of heat from the hot end of the metal spoon to its cold end. When heat is transferred from the hotter end of the spoon to its colder end, there is no movement of the material of the spoon. There is no movement of the material of the spoon from one end to another. Such a transfer of heat from the hotter part to a material to its colder part is called conduction. Let's see an activity for transfer of heat by conduction. We take a flat aluminium rod and fix some small iron nails on it with the help of wax. Let us heat the free end of the aluminium rod by keeping a burner below it. We will see that the iron nails attached to aluminium rod with wax starts falling one by one. The nail attached nearest to the heated end of rod falls down first, and then the next ones fall, but the nail attached to the end of the rod drops last of all. The burner is placed below the left end of aluminium rod. So the left end of aluminium rod gets heated first. Now the left end of aluminium rod is heated, but the right end of the rod is cold. So heat is now transferred from the hotter left end of aluminium rod to its colder right end. As heat travels from the left side to the right side along the aluminium rod, it melts the wax which hold the nails. Due to this, the nails fall down one by one. From this activity, we conclude that heat is transferred from the hot end of aluminium rod to its colder end by the process of conduction. Next, we'll see conductors of heat. There are two types of conductors. One is a good conductor, another one is a bad or poor conductor. First, we'll see good conductor of heat. Materials that allow heat to pass through them easily are called good conductor of heat. What is it? Materials that allow heat to pass through them easily are called good conductor of heat. For example, metals are good conductor of heat. Iron, steel, copper, aluminium are a good conductor of heat. Mercury is also a good conductor of heat, and so is used in thermometer. In a thermometer, which metal we used in it? Yes, mercury. That is the only metal in liquid state at room temperature. Next one, poor conductor of heat. Materials that do not allow heat to pass through them easily are called poor conductor of heat. Materials that do not allow heat to pass through them easily are called poor conductor of heat. They are also known as insulator. Poor conductor or bad conductor of heat also known as insulator. For example, plastic, wood, rubber or insulator. Handles of metallic pans are made up of plastic or wood. Liquids and gases are usually poor conductor of heat. For example, water and air. These two are poor conductor of heat. For example, the cooking utensils are made of metals. This is because metals are good conductor of heat, which transfer the heat from the gas stove to the food placed inside the utensils. The cooking utensils are provided with handle made up of what? Yes, insulator or poor conductor. For example, most of the utensils handles are made up of plastic. This is because plastic is a poor conductor of heat. A plastic handle prevents the heat from hot cooking utensils reaching our hand so that we can lift the hot cooking utensil safely from its handle. And some stainless steel frying pans, cookers are provided with copper bottom. The reason for this is the copper metal is much better conductor of heat than stainless steels. Let me ask a question. Yes. Why do we wear woolen clothes in winter? Why do we wear woolen clothes in winter? Yes, we wear woolen clothes in winter to keep us warm. We wear woolen clothes in winter to keep us warm. Wool is a poor conductor of heat or else insulator of heat. In winter, woolen clothes keep us warm by stopping the flow of heat from our warm body to the cold surrounding. It keeps us warm by stopping the flow of heat from our warm body to the cold surrounding. Moreover, there is air trapped between the wool fiber. So this one we already discussed in our previous lesson, that is a fiber to fabric. And as we know, air is a poor conductor of heat. So our body does not lose its heat. That is the reason why we feel warm when we wear woolen clothes in winter. And if you are given a choice in winter to use one thick blanket or two thin blankets joined together, which one would you choose? Which one would you choose? Yes, two thin blankets joined together will keep you warmer in winter. You know why? Yes, because it has a layer of air trapped in between. This extra layer of air prevents the body heat from escaping more efficiently. Hence, more layer of clothes keep us warmer as it traps more air than a single thick layer of clothes. Next, convection. Convection is the transfer of heat from the hotter part of a liquid or gas to the colder part by the movement of liquid or gas itself. The transfer of heat by convection can take place only in liquids and gases because the particles in liquid and gases can move about freely. The transfer of heat by convection cannot take place in solids because the particles in the solids are fixed at a place and hence cannot move about freely. First we'll see convection in water. Heat get transfer in water by convection. When a beaker contains water is kept on the burner, see this picture. When a beaker containing water is kept on the burner, the water at the bottom of the beaker gets heated. The water at the bottom of the beaker gets heated. Hot water being lighter rises upward carrying the heat along with it. The water on top is colder and heavier. So see, hot water being lighter and rises upward. The water on top is colder and heavier, hence it moves downwards to take the place in the rising hot water. This cold water then gets heated by the burner and rises up again. More cold water sink downwards to take place. This process takes place again and again, due to which the entire water in the beaker gets heated uniformly. See an activity for heat transfer by convection in water. Take a few crystals of potassium permanganate and drop them in a beaker of water. Heat the beaker on slow flame and absorb the crystals of potassium permanganate. What will happen is the purple streaks of water rise upwards and move outwards. What will happen? The purple streaks of water rise upward and move outward. This shows the path followed by water when it's heated. The hot water rises up and cold water sink down. Next, convection in air. Air transfer heat by moving itself from hotter part to colder part. The circulatory movement of hot air rising and the cold air moving into take its place. Okay, so the hot air rising and the cold air comes down to takes place is called convection current in air. For example, take a lighted candle and fix it on a table. Keep one hand above the flame and the other hand on the side of the flame. Which hand get hot feel? Yes, hand kept above the flame feels quite hot, but the hand kept on the side of the flame does not get hot, because hot air rises upwards. Hot air rises upward. Convection does not occur sideways, and therefore the air on the side does not get feel as hot. Next, convection current in nature. People living in a coastal area experience an interesting phenomena called sea breeze and land breeze. This phenomena is based on the transfer of heat in air through convection. This one we call it as a convection current in nature. First we'll see sea breeze. During the day, the temperature of land rises more quickly than sea or sea water. The hot air above the land becomes lighter and rises. When air gets heats, it's become lighter and rises. The comparatively cooler air from the sea replaces it. So, a gentle cooler wind blows from the sea to the land. The wind blows cool or cooler wind blows from the sea to the land during the day, which is known as the sea breeze. This gentle cooler wind blows from the sea to the land. The cooler air blows from the sea to the land during the day, which is known as a sea breeze. Next one, land breeze. At night time, the temperature of the sea is higher than that of the land. The temperature of sea is higher than land at night time. This is because sea cools slowly as compared to land. The air above the sea is warmer and rises while the cooler air over the land replaces it. So, a gentle cooler wind blows from the land to the sea at night, which is known as the land breeze. A gentle cool wind blows from the land to sea at night time, which is known as the land breeze. Now we'll see radiation. In conduction and convection process, need a medium or substance whose molecule transfer or carry the heat from the hot to cold region. So conduction and convection need medium to carry a heat from the hot to the cold region. In radiation process, the medium also gets heated. In radiation process, medium also gets heated. If we go out in the sun, we feel hot. If we go out in the sun, we feel hot. But how does the heat from sun reach us? Students, do you have any guess? How does the heat from sun reach us? Yes, sun is far away from the earth and there is empty space or vacuum in between sun and earth. We cannot receive the heat from the sun through conduction or convection because conduction and convection need medium to transfer heat. We receive heat from sun by another way called radiation. We receive heat from sun by another way is called radiation. Radiation does not need a medium to travel. Radiation does not need a medium to travel heat from one place to another. Transfer of heat from a hot object to a cold object by means of heat rays. By means of heat rays. Yes, the heat transfer from hot object to cold object by means of heat rays is called radiation. The transfer of heat from a hot object to a cold object by means of heat rays is called radiation. Transfer of heat through radiation can takes place in all forms of matter like solid, liquid and gases. Conduction only takes place in solids. Convection takes place in liquids and gases only. But radiation takes place in all form of matters like solids, liquids and gases. So radiation can take place in all form of matters, solids, liquids and gases. Transfer of heat through radiation does not require direct contact to two bodies. In fact, radiation does not require any medium. Radiation does not require any medium or involve particles of the matter. So, radiation can occur through vacuum. So, radiation does not need any medium to transfer of heat from one object to another object. See this picture. When we switch on an electric bulb, it becomes hot and gives out heat and light. It gives out heat and light. If we keep our hand a short distance below the glowing bulb, we can feel its heat on the hand. This means that hot glowing bulb is transfers some of its heat to our hand below it. The hot electric bulb cannot transfer its heat to our hand by conduction because Air is a poor conductor of heat. The hot bulb also cannot transfer its heat to our hand by convection because the convection current of air always carry heat in the upward direction. Air is a poor conductor of heat, so that transfer of heat not takes place by conduction, and then this transfer of heat not by the convection because the convection carry heat in a upward direction. The hot electric bulb transfer its heat to our hand held below it by the process called radiation. By the process called radiation. The hot electric bulb can transfer its heat to our hand by radiation. All the hot objects can transfer heat by radiation. That means solids, liquid, gas, these all kind of things can transfer heat by radiation. Every hot object emits invisible heat rays in all direction. So every hot object emits or give out invisible. So we cannot see that rays, heat rays in all direction. Radiation is the transfer of heat energy from a hot body to cold body by means of heat rays without any material or medium between them. Radiation is the transfer of heat energy from a hot body to cold body by means of heat rays without medium between them. Let's see an activity. For this activity, we take a black tin can and a white tin can of the same size. These tin cans are placed on wooden blocks separately and kept it in a shady place inside a room. So we have to place it in inside the room. Both the tin cans are filled with the same hot water. We note the initial temperature of hot water in both the tin cans. Their initial temperature are exactly equal. Allow both the tin cans to stand for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, note the temperature of water in both the tin cans again. We will find that the water in black tin can is at a lower temperature than a water in a white tin can. This means the black color tin can has lost heat faster than the white color tin can. A black object is a better emitter of heat. On the other hand, the higher temperature of water in white tin can shows that the white color tin can has lost heat slowly. A white object is a poor emitter of heat. In other hand, white object lose heat slowly. Dark colored objects emit more heat radiation than light colored object. Students, let me ask a question. We usually prefer light color clothes in summer and dark colored clothes in winter. Do you know why? Yes. Light colored clothes absorb less heat from the sun. Light colored clothes reflect most of the sun rays. It's reflect most of the sun rays falls on them and then keep us cool and comfortable in summer. Compare with the dark colored clothes because dark colored clothes absorb more heat from the sun and keep us warm in winter. This is a reason why we are prefer light colored clothes in summer and dark colored clothes in winter. Next one, thermoflask. A thermoflask is a very good example of how heat loss by all three modes of conduction, convection, and radiation is minimized. Heat loss due to conduction is minimized by using insulating materials like plastic. Isn't it? It's a insulator, it's not conduct heat through themselves for the outer casing and the cap of the thermoflask. By this way, conduction is minimized, and the inner jar is a double walled bottle made of glass or stainless steel. The space between the two walls is a vacuum so that heat loss due to conduction is minimized. This also reduced heat loss due to convection as there are no air molecules to carry the heat away because convection takes place in liquid and gas. There is no air between the two walls. So the convection also minimized. Heat loss due to radiation is minimized by making the surface of the jar highly reflective. So the heat radiations are reflected back into the jar. By this way, heat transfer is minimized in thermoflask. Next, we are going to see difference between conduction, convection, and radiation. First one, conduction. So, the transfer of heat from a hotter part to the colder part of an object which is in direct contact with it. So, direct contact within it. And convection, the transfer of heat from hotter part to the colder part of a liquid or gas due to the movement of the heated particles. So here heat transfer from movement of the heated particles in a medium. In a conduction, it's a direct contact with it. Convection, so movement of the heated particles in the medium. Next one, radiation, the transfer of heat from a hot object to a cold object by means of heat rays. We already discussed, no? So radiation takes place by means of heat rays. Next one, conduction takes place only in solids. Conduction takes place only in solids. What about convection? Yes, convection takes place in liquids and gases, and radiation can take place in all forms of matter, solids, liquid, and gases. In conduction, direct contact is necessary for transfer of heat to takes place. In convection, a medium is necessary for the transfer of heat to takes place. In radiation, no direct contact or medium is required for the transfer of heat to takes place. Thank you, students. We will see next lesson in our next class. Stay home, stay safe.